Welcome to Airborne Flight Training. Coming up on this week's episode, EAA completes funding search for Education Center. Air India to build largest training facility in South Asia. U.S. Naval Test Pilot School graduates new class of 28. And I'm your host, Holland Lee. Welcome to Airborne Flight Training, a weekly program dedicated to future aviators and aviation professionals. Airborne Flight Training is brought to you in part by King Schools. King Schools has been leading the effort in producing expert aviation training programs and computer-based learning software for nearly 50 years. Find out why pilots love King teaching at kingschools.com. Let's get into today's stories. EAA completes funding search for Education Center. The EAA's Education Center in Oshkosh has found continued interest since opening in July 2022, offering, quote, a center for aviation learning for young people as well as experienced pilots, end quote. The Education Center will be searching for additional growth in 2024 in the hopes of serving thousands more. The $6.2 million center was funded to completion after a final $600,000 matching grant from the Ray Foundation in late December 2023. Now complete, the 30,000 square foot facility has been financed privately from top to bottom. The Education Center is divided between the Pilot Proficiency Center and the Youth Education Center. Regular classes and activities for both demographics are held year-round, from conferences and simulator sessions to children's activities and summer camps. Jack Pelton, EAA CEO and chairman of the board, said, quote, approximately 5 years ago, this was merely a dream to create a place where young people could be inspired by the world of flight while current pilots could build their existing skills. Having now seen what has occurred here in just 18 months, we know what the support of those who believed in the dream has created, expanding the possibilities for people of all ages within EAA's aviation community based here at Oshkosh, end quote. And coming up after the break, NetJets' row increases in pitch with new accusations.
Well, hello, fellow pilot. I'm John Kay.
And I'm Martha King.
You know, we've all had our flying lives disrupted lately.
Well, King Schools is here to help you stay up to date with courses that you can access on your desktop, iPad, or iPhone. If you'd like a refresher or just want to expand your aviation horizons, we have a course for you.
So head over to kingschools.com/rusty today for details.
Welcome back. Now let's take a trip around the patch for some shorter stories. NetJets' row increases in pitch with new accusations. NetJets management has issued a letter to the NetJets Association of Shared Aircraft Pilots alleging that, quote, the union had condoned or encouraged pilots to engage in a work slowdown in an attempt to negatively impact the fractional's operations, end quote. NJASAP fired back at the allegations over the weekend, asserting that they were not, as management says, spiking fatigue rates, increasing the frequency of documenting maintenance issues on aircraft, and refusing to voluntarily extend their duty days. They responded to the allegations with 3 overarching points. Heartening job numbers show a healthy industry. The U.S. Bureau of Transportation updated data for 2023, showing that U.S. cargo and passenger airlines gained nearly 2,000 jobs in November. Employment now remains 8.8% above pre-pandemic hiring levels from November 2019, with a total of 814,190 in the industry. That's up 0.2% since the preceding month and 12.5% higher since the before times. ASA publishes next edition of Commercial Pilot Oral Exam Guide. ASA's Oral Exam Guide series has finally seen an update to the Commercial Pilot Edition, providing a short, concise, portable way to bone up on the oral exam portion before the CPL check ride. Those who pass and go on to instruct will find it doubly useful as they prep their own students on the test too. The format contains the same Q&A presentation that gives enough data to be sure the material is covered without seeming conspicuously wordy or nervous. FAA references in this most recent edition have also been updated, assisting further study on the off chance something in there doesn't look familiar enough. King Schools' Samuel Golden chosen for NBAA's 40 Under 40. King Schools Content and Marketing Manager Samuel Golden was chosen out of 600-plus applicants for the National Business Aviation Association's 2023 40 Under 40 Award. The award is relatively new on the scene, having been first issued in 2018, but it has gone on to recognize younger up-and-comers in the industry, quote, driving meaningful change and big results across all segments of business aviation, end quote. Well, that's it for today's Trip Around the Patch. Let's get back to the rest of the news. Air India to build largest training facility in South Asia. India's flagship conglomerate Tata Group announced the creation of a 600,000 square foot aviation training academy, aiming to feed its domestic industry more than 50,000 professionals in the coming years. The Tata Group's ownership of Air India spurred on their activity, hoping to move away from the trouble of sending students to outside training facilities to ply their airline trade. The facility in Gurugram, Haryana will train the full roster of airline personnel, including pilots, cabin crew, ground support, and more. They plan to install 20 full-flight sim bays in both Boeing and Airbus types, as well as an AMT training facility to cover their logistical bases. While the Boeing simulators haven't yet been announced, Air India already entered into a joint venture with Airbus to develop 10 FFS units. The new training center is expected to begin operations in early 2025, according to Airbus. They anticipate that date since the Academy can begin service with the initial installation of 4 A320 FFS units. The school will offer courses approved by the Indian Directorate General of Civil Aviation and EASA. And after these messages, U.S. Naval Test Pilot School graduates new class of 28.
There's a lot of places I get to at the end of the runway or in turnarounds that I need an engine running. So for me, it's very important to have a product that I'm absolutely confident with. I am very confident with the Trailblazer propeller. And when I'm flying air shows, I know that propeller is going to be right for me.
If it looks good, it usually flies good. The Bristol series of aircraft is proof of that. Furthering their legacy of safety and efficiency, Bristol is proud to feature the Rotax 915 IS Turbo in the current lineup of aircraft. The 915 IS Turbo power plant offers more power than ever before in a light sport aircraft. Learn more about Bristol at www.sportflyingusa.com.
Welcome back. U.S. Naval Test Pilot School graduates new class of 28. The United States Naval Test Pilot School held a graduation ceremony for class number 163 last month. 28 students successfully completed the intense 11-month course of instruction and received their designations as Engineering Test Pilots, Engineering Test Flight Officers, and Test Project Engineer. U.S. Army Colonel David Phillips, Assistant Program Executive Officer for Redstone Arsenal's Program Executive Office for Aviation in Alabama, delivered the keynote address. Colonel Phillips graduated from USNTPS in June 2006 as a member of Class 129. The graduation ceremony took place at the Hollywood Volunteer Fire Department in Hollywood, Maryland. Graduates included members of the Israeli Air Force, Italian Air Force, Italian Navy, Royal Australian Air Force, Royal Canadian Air Force, U.S. Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, and Navy. 20 students completed the requirements for the Engineering Test Pilot course, 7 students completed the Engineering Test Flight Officer course, and 1 student, the first enlisted graduate for USNTPS, fulfilled the requirements for the Test Project Engineer course. USNTPS trains pilots and engineers for development, test, and evaluation of aircraft and aircraft systems. USNTPS is a component of Naval Test Wing Atlantic, the developmental test wing under the Naval Air Warfare Center Aircraft Division in Maryland. NAWCAD advances capability and operational readiness for naval aviation. That's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne, and don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.